Unicorn. Unicorn.
Hello and welcome to Ask a Unicorn. I'm your host, Ciara O'Mara, and this is brought to you by the Unicorn Union. In this podcast, I'll ask creatives that are mothers about how they balance their creativity with work and family. What fuels it? What tips, hacks and advice they have for fellow parents that might help. Join me in hearing their magic.
I had a kidney transplant nearly 15 years ago, and that was so low in my pelvis that the doctors then told me that I wouldn't be able to carry to full term.
Hello, listeners. This week I'm interviewing the fabulous Heather Keywood-Mistry. She is a lead creative writer at Apple. Heather, welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
So, Heather, before we get into the questions, we're going to have some bit of fun and we're going to find out what your unicorn name is. To do that, I need to know what is your favorite food, place, and thing to do. And we're going to generate 3 with lovely AI, and we're going to see which one you think suits your personality the most.
My favourite food is mayonnaise, but specifically Kewpie mayonnaise, which is a Japanese brand, which is just the best.
Okay, how do I spell that so I can put that in?
Kewpie.
Okay, I need to try that.
Oh my gosh, amazing. You can get it in Marks and Spencer's now, but also like all the Asian grocery stores.
Oh, fabulous. Okay, so you love Kewpie and mayo, love it.
Yeah, my favourite place, I would say, is Thailand.
Okay.
I just love that there's no rules that you have to abide by. If you
Thailand,
want to get a mope, you want to ride it while eating $1 noodles, you do that.
This unicorn is having some great fun. I can see it. So you love Thailand for, I'm going to put that in actually, for its freedom, maybe.
Yeah.
Right. And then what else? So things to do. What do you love to do?
I love crafting and DIY.
Great. Okay. Here comes the sparkly jingle. The 3 options for your unicorn name are Sriracha Stitch. Unusual choice. And we have Kewpie Koran. And then we have Glue Stick Galanga. I don't know why that's they are so random.
They're so random.
It says, would you like me to generate more? Yes. These are slightly better, actually. So we've got Heather, the Unami craftress.
Okay.
Heather, the jungle artisan. Or Heather, the DIY dreamweaver.
Oh, the last one.
Okay. Heather, the DIY dreamweaver. There you are. You are now christened.
I'll change my name on the group.
I know, eventually. That would be fabulous if actually everybody changed their names to the unicorn name. Strong. I like that suggestion. All right. So, Heather, now on to more serious matters after we've now christened you. I'd love to find out, where am I talking to you from and what did you have to get through to get to our chat this evening?
I am at home in my kitchen at the moment. It's been a long day, I would say. Not just kids stuff. Obviously had to help drop off the kids this morning. But then from 8:30 I was at a dialysis unit because I now do dialysis 4 times a week. It was 3 times a week. I'm now doing 4 because I'm training to do it at home. So 8:30 to 2:30 I was there, and then came home, did some more worked while I was there, picked the kids up, fed the kids, bathed the kids, put the kids to bed. My husband did help with that a bit. And now I'm here.
Wow. So yeah, strong day, stronger than most people. And I hope your husband helped, as I know your husband from work. But yeah, so obviously you're going through dialysis at the moment, and maybe we'll touch on that a little bit more actually in our chat, because that's a lot on top, of everything else. And it just shows the superpower that you are to still be juggling it all with this crazy job industry that we work in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really actually on that. Slightly said in the introduction that you're a lead creative writer at Apple. But so yeah, are you mainly a copywriter? Have you always been a copywriter? Are you a bit of a hybrid? I'd love to know a little bit more about just your role as a creative.
So I've always been a copywriter. I was part of a very long-standing creative team, basically from uni, and then worked together for the next 15 years in all of our different jobs. We had very defined roles, like we obviously both concepted and came up with the ideas, but I was always the copywriter and he was the art director. And I think that was, at the time, something that was really pushed into us at Bucks. It was very much like, okay, decide which one you are now. This is what you're going to be. And hybrid wasn't so much of a thing back then. And I think, although I can think visually and do think visually, and outside of advertising, I do a lot of visual stuff as well. In terms of my job, it's pretty much writing, and particularly my job now, where it's a little bit less of the ideation and more of the craft of writing. At Apple, that is a bigger focus.
Awesome. And yeah, so, just obviously being a copywriter and obviously since being at Books and stuff, is like that's something. So how did you kind of get into books and how did you know about it? And did you always want to be a writer? Like how did you end up basically how did you end up in advertising as a career?
No, I didn't always want to be a writer at all. Like I liked English and stuff at school, but I wasn't like, this is what I want to do. I really loved art and I really loved graphic design. And when I did that at A level, I was like, I'm going to be a graphic designer. So I went and did, after A levels, I went and did an art degree, which you need to get onto any, like a foundation course. And for my final project for this graphic design element, I made a footballer's wives book, which was basically included a huge pair of pink wax silicone boobs in a little boob tube top with some fake blonde hair over the top. And then I stole a shopping basket from Sainsbury's and I put it in the shopping basket. And inside this book was all like products, 3D products that footballers' wives would like. So it was like bottles of fake tan and how to do your nails and all of this thing. So it was clearly more conceptual than proper graphic design. And then there was me totting around to like highbrow graphic design courses in like Bristol and Brighton. And they go, oh, let's see your work. And I'm like, here's this shopping basket with this book of footballers' wives stuff. And they're like, get out.
I love it.
So that was when, and I was like literally at home crying, I'm going to work in Tesco's for the rest of my life. I'm not going to get into any university. And that's when my tutor, who was an absolute drunk, like wasn't around for most of the course, then sobered up a bit and was like, oh, well, maybe actually I do know an advertising course that maybe you'd be better suited to. And she knew the tutor at Bucks and introduced me to the Bucks course. And then they loved my footballer's wives book. And they were like, you can come in.
I want to see a picture of it.
It must be at my mum's house somewhere.
Oh
Probably
my
not
God,
the shopping basket, but the rest of it definitely.
I mean, there we go. We're two ideas.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, definitely more of an idea first.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm glad she eventually, the course director eventually got their act together and like directed you towards advertising.
Yeah.
Because obviously, yeah, you're clearly very good at it. So like, I'm just trying to picture the fact of you going into these really serious graphic design studios with this.
Oh, it was awful.
Brilliant.
There was everyone there with their like fine line of pens and their beautiful typography, and it was just me with this shopping basket.
Oh, brilliant. So fantastic. But memorable. That's the most important thing. So yeah, so obviously you got into advertising, but I'd love to know, since you've been in advertising, I'd love to hear about one or two projects that you think, you're really proud of that you loved making.
I've loved some of the sort of real purpose-driven stuff I've done. Like I did a big campaign for the United Nations climate change a couple of years ago, where we were basically lobbying all of the global diplomats to really sort of make a change and wanting them to put a stand on trying to limit the climate change to 1.5 degrees. We got to work with loads of really renowned war photographers. The time that we started doing it, I say we lucked out, but it was when like things like the fires in Greece, the wildfires were going crazy. And we managed to use photographers that were in the ground in those places. We had them in Greece. We had them also in like Sudan with like the flood, droughts and things like that, taking these amazing photos of people within sort of the wreckages of their homes. And I got to write some really powerful headlines that were like, look, wake up, this is what's happening. We plastered those over absolutely massive billboards all over Glasgow. Then got a Channel 4 evening news special done on it, because all of the media owners basically tried to block the campaign when they realised how effective it could be. So we were due to be able to put it all over Glasgow Airport, and they said no. So how we got round it was we put QR codes on everything that then linked to live stories of all of these things happening and sort of testimonies from the people. And the blocking of that got onto Channel 4 News, so then all of our work was on Channel 4 News, which was really great.
That's amazing. Oh my God, wow. That shows that you can be really powerful, advertise and also get a really important message. That's phenomenal. I love good idea to get around it with the QR code. You're like, you won't stop us. We're gonna find another way. Yeah.
We'll still get that content out there.
Yeah, and like so important. That's like super like cause-driven stuff. Do you particularly love cause-driven work that you've done?
I think that that's the biggest cause-driven stuff that I've done. I mean, I've done such a range of stuff. Like, I didn't start out in above the line particularly. I did a lot of CRM and things at the start, and some of that I look back on now, like DMs we did, and because it forced you to be so creative in within such strict parameters, I think it was a really good grounding for then coming up with ideas and thinking outside of the box in different ways. We were never just taught to just write a 30-second script, although that is things that I've also done later on. We were taught, or how we were brought up in advertising, was to come up with all different ways of doing things, and I really enjoyed those. So I've always feel like the bigger things are like the TV things, because those are the things that people see. Like, we did an amazing ad for Delta where we got to fly to South America and shoot loads of different things there. We also got shot at while we were there in a favela because we were using a drone.
Wow.
to do some of the shots, and they thought it was another gang droning in drugs, or they thought it was a police drone, so they shot it down.
Oh my God.
So that was just a crazy experience, right? And I loved the ad that came out of it. Like, it looks really impressive and really beautiful, but it was the experiences of making those things as well.
Yeah, that's definitely getting getting something of your equipment shot down in the middle of a shoot.
It was very Narcos, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Like, the government's trying to take down one campaign you've done, the other one's trying to shoot down your cameras. This is like,
yeah,
like a running theme. Killer advertising. They will go with that instead. Well, yeah, so it's lovely to hear about those few projects, and of course, I'll share your link to your portfolio in the description under the podcast, so everyone, listeners, make sure to check out Heather's work. But so let's get into the mom part of you as well. So tell us a little about your family structure. I know you've mentioned before, I've kind of said about your kids. But yeah, I'd love to hear a bit more about that.
So my youngest has just turned 2. We are very much in the terrible 2s. And my oldest is going to be 7 next month. 2 boys, which is its own challenge. I do have a very supportive partner, I have to say, which you know already. But he is amazing. Like, I hear so many people moan about their partners, and obviously I moan as well. But he does get up earlier than I do. He does get both of them their breakfast. He does washing. He does loading the dishwasher. I have to unload. But yeah, I would say that we are very 50-50, and I do feel that has come out of a certain set of circumstances into how we became parents as well. I had a kidney transplant nearly 15 years ago, and that was so low in my pelvis that the doctors then told me that I wouldn't be able to carry to full term, that I would either have to choose between my unborn child or my kidney, which was donated to me by my mum. That's obviously not a choice really you can make, because if you aren't well enough to look after a child, then what's the point in having them? So we ended up making the choice to have a surrogate carry both of our children for us. So we made the embryos, and then our surrogate lives in Canada. So we had to first we flew out there for treatment, and then we had to fly out there for both of their births. We've always been very 50-50 in the fact that it wasn't just I was pregnant and then he had to help in that early bit when, I couldn't do anything, because we were both doing everything. But also we weren't in the UK. We were in Canada for 3 months with my first and 2 months with the second. So that's a very different start to maternity leave.
Yeah.
You only have each other, really. We're very close to our surrogate and her family, but we didn't know anyone else in Canada. So you're in a real bubble. Everyone's in a baby bubble when they first have a child, but we were in this very surreal bubble where, 2 days before my son arrived, we were drinking cocktails on a lake and eating beaver tails. And then 2 days later, we have a newborn child that we don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
In a country we're not used to living in, with none of our family around us. It's a crazy experience. And I think because we got so used to sharing everything we used to do, like one of us would sleep half the night and then the other one would sleep the other half the night while you're up. We got so used to doing this 50-50 thing that we kind of never stopped.
Amazing.
And that's been brilliant.
Yeah. That's because it's been a very different way into parenthood. So then, but it's made it amazing that you're both, because you've just been like a couple and equal since, from the very start, which is so good. Okay, it's fascinating. It's hard enough to have a newborn and be in a different country and not know what's going on. It's like, where do I buy that?
In Canada, it's like, and that costs how much? What?
Quickly trying to convert it back to pounds. Is that even like the right amount?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it, actually. It was such a special time.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And yeah, I suppose to that point, so when you had your first child, and obviously besides being in Canada, where were you at in your career? Where were you working then, and what was kind of going on work-wise for you?
I was at Leader / M&C Saatchi at that point. It was quite a long journey to get to that point. It was a couple of years of fertility treatments and pregnancies that didn't work out and things like that. And they were really supportive in that time, actually. They were brilliant. And, held a big baby shower for me before I left and all of that stuff. And then off I went. And then while I was off, COVID hit and it all came crashing down.
Yeah. Lovely COVID. It's like before COVID, post-COVID. So while you were out in Canada, COVID happened, or were you just...
No, we were so incredibly lucky with that timing. Now I think about it, because I knew people later on because surrogacy is like a community, you get to know other people who had surrogates out in Canada and couldn't travel for the birth, or couldn't be there for the birth, weren't allowed to be in the hospital for the birth because you only allowed one by the person. So many babies were actually born during that time without their parents present. It was really sad.
Yeah, it's wild.
So we were super lucky that I think Xander was about 9 months when we locked down.
Okay.
So yeah. I had a good run at maternity leave and I enjoyed it that first 6 months.
The first 6 months, yeah, it's good. I'm glad to hear that. At least you got back safely.
Yeah.
I think, like you're saying, imagine even you couldn't get back, and you had family here, like you were saying, you didn't know really anyone there, and you could have got stuck out there. Yeah, and I suppose, you were kind of talking there, the whole process of surrogacy, and the how you end up on that journey. So obviously you've been thinking about having kids for a while, and that was kind of in the back of your head, working. Were you thinking, okay? Had you debated a bit with your career? Is this the right career to have a child, or was that always I want children? We need to figure out how we do it.
I don't think I ever saw our industry as a barrier to having children. I worked with quite a few sort of older creatives. I saw creative directors and stuff who had kids. I had a mentor at the time who was the CEO of Leader, who was absolutely fantastic, and she had 2 kids and was very supportive of everything and was a real sort of cheerleader for me as well. And so I was very open and honest with her about the whole process, and she was absolutely thrilled for me. So I think that made it easier as well, because it really normalized the conversation. I never felt like I couldn't talk about it at work.
Hmm. That's great. That's really, I mean, that's so important, isn't it? And that's so great to hear. But so, yeah, we're talking obviously with the maternity leave. So that's great with Xander. You had like 9 months of bliss and then everything
Yeah.
was a little bit different. And then with your second, how do they, it's just interesting to talk about. I think maternity leaves, both of them can be so different, right? With
Mm.
kids, because every child is unique. So yeah, how do they compare and how did you feel about going off for the second one versus the first one?
The second one was really different because, well, when I was due to go back from Zander, the first one, everyone was made redundant, basically, including myself. So when I was due to go back to work from that one, it was like, oh God, never going to work again. The world is ending. What are we going to do? And then managed to actually get a better job at a better agency in a higher
Yeah.
position. And I think like it's such a cliche to say, oh, it's you always go on to better things, but I do think it's true. Sometimes you need that push to really make you force yourself into going, oh, well, maybe I'm not 100% fully skilled for this job yet, but I can be if I really push myself, and I will do it. And we did, and we were great in that job, and we were there for another 2 years. But when I went on maternity leave this time, I was at a much smaller agency, and we'd been freelance there for 6 months because again we'd been made redundant. but but again had picked ourselves up really quickly and got ourselves into another agency. We were freelancing there for 6 months, and then they said, we really need you to be perm because we've run out of freelance money. So we went perm. But when we found out that Lisa, our surrogate, was pregnant, the rules are slightly different for if you're taking maternity leave from surrogacy rather than having a normal baby. So normally, if you're fully employed, you only have to work there, I think it's like 2 weeks or a month or something, and you might not get all of the benefits that an agency would give you, like enhanced benefits, but you would get statutory from the government.
Yeah.
Not the case with surrogacy.
Oh,
They've got
right.
some stupid rule that you have to have been there. It's like 21 weeks by the 13th week before the due date of the child or something like that. And
Okay.
I missed that by about 3 weeks.
Oh gosh.
And I had a big conversation with the agency and I was like, is there anything that we can do here? Like, if we'd have signed that contract a bit earlier and not negotiated over this and that, then, I would have been there in the time, and really it's no skin off your nose, it's the government that's paying, it's not you.
Hmm.
And they didn't want to do that, so me and my creative partner both decided that it was the time to leave.
Right.
So we both quit before I went on maternity leave.
Fair play.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
he was like, I don't want to stay here without you, and he now is a CD for his wife's agency, so that worked out well for him anyway. That was kind of, the stars aligned a bit. And I was like, well, sod it, I'm having this baby. This is all that's happening now. This is my life. So we both left without thinking, oh, what am I going to do? And I come back and I was just like, well, I'll just freelance. It'll be fine. And then by the time that year was up, the freelance market had tanked absolutely on the floor. Every post that mentioned a job or a whisper of a job had 400 replies within 10 minutes.
Oh, stop.
And I was just sat there with a baby going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because this time, not only did I have no job, I had no creative partner. For the first time in my career, I was on my own. And I honestly wasn't sure what I could do on my own. So it was a bit of a reckoning moment to be like, okay, well, got to try and get whatever freelance we can. And I did get a few freelance gigs, and then the Apple job was a very long time in the pipeline. I think I started talking to the recruiter in October, maybe, or maybe even earlier than that. And I started end of the February.
Okay, well, yeah. How did you find both those maternity leaves? Because obviously there's different things going on in your career. So I'd love to know, yeah, just a little bit on the first one and on the second one and what were the different or
I think the first one, I was in such sort of a bliss bubble, like this long-awaited child had finally happened, and I wasn't even really thinking about work, I don't think. I think the second one is very different. One, you have another child to juggle, and he'd already started school, so that was a different ball game. And I was worried about work. I had that in the back of my mind all the time, I think. Although I
Yeah.
was, still trying to enjoy it as much as I could, it did feel different. I had to be home in time to pick up my eldest from school, and
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
day is already a lot more structured, and I think you build that checking LinkedIn into that structure, or applying for things.
Yeah. Check notifications quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lot less carefree than the first time around.
Yeah, it is totally different. But then yeah, it's the joy of having both of them is special, isn't it? Also, I have two boys, as you know, so the energy is high.
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, obviously we kind of touching on a little bit, obviously the fear of like obviously the second one going back to work, trying to find work. But were you excited about getting back into advertising after having your second?
Yeah, I was, and I was really excited for the new challenge of working in-house for the first time as well. Such a different experience, and I still find it radically different. I find the pace of it so much different. I think when you're on the agency side, you're always like, oh, the client, that person over there. And then once you're in amongst all the clients, you're like, oh, we're all just the same. You realize everyone is just the same. We're all just
Yeah,
just trying to get through and make the best
yeah.
stuff that we can.
Yeah, they're all like, "The agency, what?"
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so the same chats. And, like, interesting because I do think a lot of people yeah, a lot well, actually in the group, there's quite a mix, isn't there, of people who are some people are in-house, some people are agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the pace, what do you that's interesting. What is it different? Is it, like, the same kind of pace or just different kind of structure of a day?
I find it a lot slower paced than agency life, but maybe I was in quite frenetic agencies. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think when you've got multiple clients, you're juggling lots of multiple things at different times and trying to squeeze it all in and please all
Mhm,
the clients as much as you can. And I think that when you're on the other side of it, the work streams are a lot longer paced out, but also there's a lot more attention to craft at Apple. Like it's crazy levels of craft. Everyone there is an absolute specialist, top of their game in what they do.
mhm,
Um, and so they are really respectful of your time, which I think is
mhm.
great. And I think that should be more the case in advertising. I understand why it isn't, but
Yeah.
it would be nice if you got that opportunity to be able to craft and develop things to that level.
Yeah, yeah. That I mean, that's the thing because it's one brand, so you're really delving into, yeah, all of the aspects of it, and, like, obviously more so with Apple, like, the craft, you see it in the work, right? And they take that very seriously and obviously it does run in the culture of it, but, yeah, that's nice to hear. Maybe with that you might be encouraging more, Heather.
Come join us. Come
Yeah,
join the dark
yeah,
side.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so a little bit actually touching on like practicalities, besides each other, yeah, what's the kind of structure of like, do the kids go to creche? Do you have parents involved?
Dip's parents live about 3 hours away and they're getting on a bit now, so they're not really in the picture in terms of support for us. My mum lives about an hour away and she babysits when she can, but she is also very busy. So she does babysit occasionally, but day to day, we rely on 5 days a week for Dexter for nursery. Xander is at school. We're very lucky that our school is literally less than 30 seconds away from our house,
Amazing.
which is very handy for drop off. But he goes to breakfast club 3 times a week on the days that we have to be in the office. He does after school club one of those days, and then also does a football club, karate, swimming, like a million different classes. So there's a lot of ferrying him to and from places. Luckily, everything's within walking distance of our house because I don't drive. But it is a real juggle. Like, we're both supposed to be in the office 3 days a week. I mean, Apple have been incredibly, incredibly supportive during this time. They let me work remotely on a Wednesday and now also on a Tuesday while I'm doing this training. But, I'm supposed to be in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as is my husband. And so those days we really do have to juggle
Hmm.
and rely on a lot of paid childcare. Yeah.
Yeah, busy. It's busy times. Like, and just what you were saying about the clubs, the fairing of clubs. sometimes I feel as a parent, you kind of I'm like living in their lives versus I'm living my own life. Like,
But
I
you're
don't
just on the
know.
peripheries because you're just waiting outside the class.
Yeah, you're waiting outside having chats with the parents outside, like making friends with them. Yeah, it's like even my son this evening was like, "Mummy, what's the plans for the weekend?" I'm like, "The plans are your classes. Like, I don't
Yeah, we'll just work around you.
just work around you. And if there's a birthday party, not my friends, obviously
Oh
yours." Yeah.
gosh, yeah, the birthday parties.
So yeah, so creche for your youngest, and then school, which obviously is great with the kind of, and then the breakfast club.
Didn't know what it was going to be like out there either. I just had to go, well, I need to maximize my time and be
Yeah.
available all those
Hmm.
5 days of the week.
Yeah. That's hard, isn't it, actually, from a freelance aspect of things? You know, yeah, there's not many places that do flexible childcare. I know there's one actually in Deptford called the Working Moms Club that started up, and they're trying to do it more ad hoc days. Shout out to them, but
Yeah, that's good.
it's not a kind of very easy thing to find actually. Also, I think, cost wise, it's harder for to do that for a creche as well.
Yeah, I don't think it'd
Um,
be very easy for them to manage.
if you don't mind sharing, because I think it's quite important to talk about the costs of things for people, because you need to know what money you need to be on to be able to afford this childcare, right? Because
Yeah.
it's all well and good to be like, right, I'll happily work for 40 grand a year, and then you can't cover any of these costs. So how much does that kind of work out with creche and after school clubs and stuff for you guys on a
think
monthly basis?
I think the nursery is about 1,200 a month. That's
Hmm.
with the 3 hours. And then I did work this out. I think we spend about 60 quid a week just on the breakfast and after school club and maybe football, and then everything else on top.
Yeah,
He does
just to keep
karate
fun.
2 times a week now, and I think that's like 15 quid a go. And then
Yeah.
swimming is another tenner, and art class. Oh my God, art class is so expensive. And he comes home with these bits of cardboard. I'm like, oh, that bit of cardboard cost me 60 quid.
You're trying to instill the creativity in him, but you're like, is it actually the
Yeah,
money
it's like,
worth?
oh, come on, you've got two creative parents. Can we not do this at home and save some money?
So you've talked a bit about the flexibility of work currently, obviously what's, going on for dialysis, and it's great to hear like Apple are being so flexible for you. So you're basically doing like the 2 days in the hospital and stuff, and then the 1 day in the office. Is that currently how it is? And
So
yeah.
yeah, at the moment, I mean, it's only started from this week, but I'm only going into the office 1 day a week, which is a shame because I actually really enjoy going into the office.
Hmm. And so, how did just about getting that flexibility? Obviously, did you ask for it, like, or even when you started there originally and were on the 3 days, was that like brought up about you have to come in 3 days a week, or yeah, just to talk a little bit of how your situation has become
It
flexible.
was very much positioned as we would ideally like you in the office 3 days a week. Everyone comes in these 3 days.
Hmm.
But they are very flexible with other things as well. It's very family friendly, I would say there. They don't really hire any juniors.
Hmm.
So everyone there is quite senior, and therefore everyone has families. So half terms, holidays, the office is dead. Like
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
nearly everyone is working from home or has taken it off. People do turn up at 10 o'clock in the morning because they've been doing drop off, and they leave at 4 or 5. Like at 5:30, the blinds come down. I sound like I've really drunk the apple Kool-Aid, don't I? I haven't.
I mean, I am too right now. I'm like,
I think the difference is they really just treat you like an adult, which
mm,
sounds ridiculous, but is actually extremely rare. You do sort of come and go as you please, and they trust in you that you will get the work done. If you then have to leave at 3:30 to go and pick up your child, no one is raising an eyebrow. No one is saying, "Oh, having a half day."
yeah,
It's really refreshing.
that's
I
great
think
to hear.
coming from where I was before, which was such a small creative department, and my boss didn't have children, was a workaholic, it was quite stifling.
versus like, it's ironic being treated like an adult, like you say. It's a creative industry, you should be judging our output. It doesn't really matter how we get there. And people think in all different places, like half the time, I don't think, in all the years when I have ideas, I don't get that cracking idea sitting at my desk.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you're up and about and being inspired. So it is strange that there is sometimes these bad cultures in places. But that's great. That's fantastic. Really good to hear Apple is going so well. Do you think like becoming a mother has changed your confidence in any way? Or your sparkle, as I should say, as a unicorn?
I think it's probably made me realise that I'm capable of more than I thought I could be, and definitely taking on more than I thought I could.
I think, yeah, it opens up things and you when you become a mother that you're like, God, I never thought I could do this. So that's lovely that, yeah, it's giving you more confidence. And do you think it's changed your creativity in any way?
I think that you're constantly sort of learning new ways to communicate when you've got small children. And I think that that does feed into your work and the way that you think as well. And so I do think about things from a different place and maybe think more about the impact of work that we make as well.
Yeah, I know. On Saturday mornings when I'm watching Milkshake with my kids, I do load those ads in the middle. Yeah. You're like, I want that toy, I want that toy. I'm like, I need to find out who those clients are and make better ads for them.
My children hate ads. They're like, Mummy, the ads are on, make them stop. And we're
This
like,
is
these
also-
are what feed you.
Yeah, I have the exact same, but then I find that they love a jingle one. They're always singing the jingles. You were talking that amazing project, earlier on in our chat. But is there anything since you've had the boys that your work that you particularly are proud of now?
So actually that cop work was post Xander.
Oh, fab. Okay, amazing.
Post Dexter, not really allowed to talk about much about Apple. It's all
Oh,
a bit
yes, it
hush.
is. I know it's very
It's
secretive.
hush hush. But I
Yeah.
was involved in a project which was about family features for all of Apple products, and basically how showing parents how they can help their children use devices safely. It felt like a really sort of important project, especially in light of a lot of the stuff that's happening at the moment and a lot of social media things.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
it was a really interesting challenge.
No one better to do it, obviously, when you've been through it as well. That's lovely. So yeah, is there anything, obviously as a writer, is there anything that you really love in the process? Is it that conceptual part? Is it the editing? Even when it comes, I mean, obviously with the writing and production as well. What do you love in the whole creative process?
I have always loved the noodling bit.
Mm.
The bit where you've got the idea already, because I think I work best when I've got some parameters, which is probably why. So once you have that kind of idea and you're set, I love the noodling of making that thing the best it can be and sort of taking the time to sort of pick it apart again, basically dissect the whole thing and then put it back together in the best way possible, whether that is words or how that fits with what it's going to look like.
Yeah, so on the whole noodly thing, which is interesting, is there anything like a tip or a hack that you would give a fellow creative mother when you're kind of like in that noodling phase or when you're concepting? Like what little hacks and tips do you you're like, all right, this is my little thing that I do?
I would say getting outside.
Mhm.
Definitely, like I find if I'm doing something like walking and fresh air, that's when those things really click for me. Something about being out in fresh air, I don't know, that I think just breaks the routine in your head. That's, you can get really stuck in something and not get anywhere and then go out and 10 minutes later you've cracked it.
Yeah. Yeah. Get the steps in, guys, basically. Yeah, isn't it? Get the steps in. It is true, isn't it? A good walk around the block changes a lot. You've been very honest and I really appreciate you talking about like what's going on for you health wise, etc. But in the midst of all this, Heather, obviously is, work and the kids and the dialysis and obviously dip, etc. Like how do you look after you in the midst of all of it?
I do DIY projects around the house. My kind of DIY is very decorative. It's not practical things like putting up shelves. It's building the banquet seating that I'm sitting on right now.
Oh, awesome. Look at that. Wow. That's
Building
amazing.
an extension to my island so the kids can sit up there and do their homework and eat their breakfast, and stencil the bathroom floor. And what else have I done? I'm making garden planters out of leftover tiles right now. All of that stuff brings me so much joy.
It's nice using your hands, and I think a lot of creative people want to do physical stuff, and yeah, it's
Exactly.
just
I like
rewarding.
to, it's nice to have something where someone can look at it and instantly go, oh, that's a thing. You did that. Wow.
Yeah, the visual side, the showing, yeah. That's so lovely to hear. And that seating is stellar. If there was one thing you wished you knew before becoming a mother in the creative industries, what is it that you didn't think you knew?
I mean, I guess I never thought about what life would look like after having kids and being in the industry because I was so focused on getting to the kids. I was focused on my career for the first part, and then once I knew I wanted to have children, that was such an intense journey to get there. I was so focused on just the getting there that I don't think I considered what life with children and working would be like, but also to have two children that I didn't think that I would ever have, and to have found a complete stranger over the other side of the world who was willing to give up her body for essentially nearly 2 years for me to have those children, and the support of everyone else that's made that happen. I think I was so focused on all of those things that I wasn't like, oh, what's life going to look like after they're here? And I do go back to work. And so I think the only advice I can give, roll with the punches. you
Okay.
like
Yeah.
you think that you won't cope if things change, but you do, because
Yeah.
actually we're all really good at adapting.
Yeah.
We're all really resilient.
That's very true. And if anything, yeah, you definitely have roll with the punches. It's so yeah, it's amazing. Sometimes we don't realize how resilient we are until life kind of like throws those things at us. So no, yeah, knowing all that you know now, would you still pick advertising and writing in particular?
Every time I've gone on maternity leave, I have thought this is the time I'm going to come up with my plan B of, what I'm going to do. The cushion company, cupcake company, every other cliche. Maybe I would have gone into like interior design or even architecture potentially, but then also knowing me and knowing my strengths, I think actually I would probably still end up where I am now.
Yeah.
Doing the same things as I am now. It's the same dream of being like, oh yeah, I'll be a graphic designer, but potentially I don't have the discipline. And I am more of a free thinker and someone who likes coming up with ideas and trying to make those ideas work, even if it doesn't seem like they're going to. So I would probably still end up being in something very similar.
Yeah, the shopping basket of all the things. Yeah.
Wheeling round my
Yeah.
stolen shopping basket full of my wax plastic boobs. Yeah.
I love it. The reason I want to, obviously, we're doing the podcast is to showcase all the amazing ladies that are creatives and mothers. But what do you think our industry could do more for us as creative mothers?
I think having a taste of this flexibility is really solidified for me how important it is. Like that it can help you. One, that it's completely possible, but two, that I do think it can help you be a better creative as well as a better parent. You are so much more than one thing when you work in a job, and that's why they hire you, because that enriches it in ways that they can't predict.
Yeah.
You bring all of those different facets of yourself to a job, and you enrich that job and enrich that role and the people around you in different ways. And if you are feeling like you're constricted and can't show that side of your personality, or you don't have time for that side of your personality, then I think the job and the client or the agency suffer as well.
Yeah. So, like, definitely having that flexibility is so important. But yeah, it's amazing what you said there. Yeah, that parents come across different things, or they'll have some insights into stuff that can really be such a strength to a certain product that you could be selling, like a market you're talking to, or just life experience. Really, it really does bring a better stuff to work. But the flexibility thing is so important, because as creative people, like, we don't stop thinking. Like you're saying, you're walking around the block, you're writing your notes. It's not like our brains turn off.
No.
So being able to have that flexibility, it's just a physicality thing, isn't it? I need to physically be here for this, but I'm still mentally like thinking. So yeah, what are you most excited about in regards to your creativity going forward? This next or this next?
I think the most exciting thing is the unknown. I'm on a contract at Apple and I have to finish end of August and then take a mandatory 3-month break before I can go back if they need me back at that point. So it is really like after the summer, I don't know what's going to happen. And I think if everything that I've been through has taught me anything recently, is that that's not something that I need to be really scared about. I
Yeah.
think it's actually something I can just be like, do you know what? Something will turn up. And it's
Yeah.
exciting that I don't know what it is.
It is. You've like now you've seen it and been through it. Yeah, it's made you resilient. You're like, yeah, bring it on. The unknown. You're like,
Until
yeah.
I'm texting the group in 7 months'
Well,
time, being like, anyone, please.
but that's what the group, I mean, that's the great thing for listeners who obviously, if you are a creative mother and you're listening, you can join the group. But for people who obviously are listening that may not be that is what we do as well. We share jobs with each other, which is really important because a lot of people in the group are also freelance. Yeah, we will be there for you, Heather. Don't worry. Hopefully, nobody putting 400 comments on a post so we don't end up in that scenario. I was going to end on the fact of, yeah, what would you say your unicorn superpower is?
Definitely what we were going back to earlier, and resilience and adaptability. I feel like probably whatever gets thrown at me, I will find a way to work that into the daily routine of chaos that we live in. I think that I will cope. Whatever happens, I will find a way around it and hopefully find a way to thrive through it as well. Like, I think before I started dialysis particularly, I really saw it as a bit of a death sentence. Now I don't. I've worked it into my life. I work full time during it. I'm actually quite glad that I'm the one sat there tapping away on a laptop while everyone else is sleeping or watching daytime TV. You just find a way to do it, and in the long run, knowing that you can do it probably makes you stronger.
Amazing, Heather. You really are truly a unicorn. And I just thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your journey and everything you've been through and everything that you're currently going on to do. So yeah, thank you so much for talking to me this evening. And yeah, listeners, I hope you enjoyed hearing everything about Heather. Tune in soon.
My mummy is a unicorn. Your book is called Apple, so you make apples.
I hope you enjoyed listening to a conversation with a real life unicorn. Please follow us to hear more, and any shares with creatives or mothers would be truly appreciated. Credit to Simone Hendrick for our logo design and to my two sons for their wonderful voices. Produced and edited by myself.